Hello, everyone. Hello, respected audience. Welcome to this webinar, which we hope that you're going to be enjoying quite a lot. Okay, so let's get started. Before we get into the very action of this particular webinar, I would be very much interested to find out whether you have a Microsoft account, okay, since we're going to be utilizing the Copilot on the web. Prerequisites would be Microsoft Edge, and then on Microsoft Edge, actually to have an account with Microsoft, which would be very much actually the one like, let's say, the hotmail.com, the msn.com, the live.com, and also like the outlook.com as well. Okay, so any of these particular domains are very much representing the Microsoft services on a public domain, and that will actually do the work. Okay, let me share the screen. Okay, class, so yes, here we are. And moving forward now. Okay, so this is very much what we're going to be working on. Okay, but then of course we have quite some list. Actually, we have a list of quite some exercises, which I'm going to be sharing with you. Okay, in the chat box. I want you guys to be busy on the hands-on activities that afford to enjoy this webinar in a way that we're going to be performing all together. Okay, so this is, okay, so first of all, like I said, this is going to be, okay, let me just once again, okay, so this is going to be the Copilot, okay, Copilot on my. And then if you're just missing an account, okay, so you may actually very much set up an account from there. Okay, let's see my account in here. Okay, so let's just sign up from here. Signing here. Okay, so yes, I hope that you guys are very much now ready. Okay, so you have the link of the Copilot on Microsoft Edge. Okay, I hope that you guys are having the Microsoft account, like I said, with Outlook.com, with MSN.com, with Live.com, and with Hotmail.com. These are Microsoft services on the public domain on the internet. If you have an account ready, okay. If not, pretty much you can set up with the link that I've shared with you. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, here we go. Uh, I'm quite sure that you guys have very much attended a dozen of the webinars provided by Technology, through which webinars you've actually gotten to learn a lot about the Copilot. Okay, but just shortly, Copilot is actually very much a AI model, artificial intelligence model, which is categorized as a narrow artificial intelligence model, just because of the fact that it is actually very much task oriented. The idea of the Copilot, or per se, the idea of the Microsoft with the Copilot is very much to empower the users at the individual level, but of course within the businesses as well. Okay, in order to increase the productivity. Okay, for that very reason, that's why we're going to be very much now taking some time and then all together see how we can benefit from the Copilot within the ads, which is actually on the public domain. Okay, and benefit actually to in order to very much be able to increase the productivity at the individual level in this case. Okay, so moving on forward, I've already shared with you the exercise number 1, which we're going to be very much working together. Okay, so maybe we lack that interactivity like we do it on the training, but no problem. Okay, let's move forward. We have within the exercises that I'm sharing with you, you're going to be very much having actually some of the prompts. Okay, those particular prompts we're going to be utilizing adequately in order to ensure that we're going to be very much not getting into the very work. Okay, so let's actually look at this particular prompt over here. Okay, this is a sample prompt. Okay, so let's put up in here. Okay, so this is actually a very long prompt, okay, which I'm going to go and read it because definitely I've shared it with you, okay, but at least this is actually a prompt that very much, okay, it's going to be addressing a certain consideration, okay, which is we're saying like the title indicates of this particular exercise is going to be defining the idea and of course setting the context, okay, of the work that we're doing. Okay, so in this case we're establishing some sort of a role-based prompt, okay, and then this prompt is actually can be used to guide the conversation so we can generate some more relevant prompts and also more relevant responses as well. Okay, so yes, in this regard, then we would be very much interested now to use this prompt from within the exercise, and of course have a look into the responses that we're going to be getting from the Copilot in this case. Okay, so let's scroll down all the way to the end of this particular prompt. Okay, and the very last paragraph on this particular prompt says, with your remarkable ability to engage multiple senses, you have the power to create unforgettable moments that envelop the individuals in a symphony of sensations, leaving them spellbound, delighted, and yearning for more. You'll be helping to assist in the creation of a new experience. So let's see what, okay, so here, as you can see, it very much we've actually have this particular setting of a quick response 2 to 3 seconds. Of course, think deeper, which is very much some of the settings that we can benefit from using from within the Copilot. Okay, so let's get started. Let's see. Okay, yes, this is actually what we get it from the Copilot. Okay, so Copilot, what it does is actually initially is just assessing the idea. Okay. Yes, indeed. And then obviously establishing the context based on what that particular prompt was just very much introducing. Okay. This is actually a prompt that we set that sort of the interaction with this particular AI model, in this case, the pilot. Okay, moving on forward. Here it is. We have another sample prompt as well. Okay, from within the same exercise. Okay. In this case, we're addressing an idea, more specific idea for one particular project, okay, to Copilot. And then we're at the same time, you see, we're establishing the context, okay, in a polite manner, of course, always. Can you help me create a paragraph with a travel marketing tone embellished on details that really bring this idea to life? Okay, so if we look into the very prompt, okay, class, as pretty much like I said earlier, if you've been attending the webinars through which you've established the understanding around the Copilot, important is to know that when we actually interact with the Copilot, okay, or any particular AI model of this form and size and shape, okay, well, very much we need to then make sure that within our prompts we are clear, okay, that we have set actually pretty much the context, okay, that we have provided the details, okay. The more of the details we provided, the more easier for that particular AI model, in this case the Copilot, to get to understand very much actually the point of that particular prompt, okay. And then yes, countries, and then all of the pretty much needed elements within the prompt that, like we've said, are going to be giving more of the understanding to the Copilot. Why we actually pretty much deal with all these particular efforts at the level of the prompt, because there is something which is called, and you may know already, which is called a prompt engineering. Okay, and prompt engineering is all about the techniques or methodologies or approaches that we use in order to ensure that we are actually crafting or very much formulating those prompts which are going to be extracting the best of that particular AI model. In that case, the best of the Copilot. So in this case, then, after I very much shared the idea with the Copilot, I went then further in a polite manner to ask from the Copilot whether the Copilot can help me in order to establish actually a paragraph with a list, in this case, the bulleted list. Okay. So as pretty much as you can notice over here, you know, and then yes, I can share my own experiences as well with the Copilot, is that indeed when I'm actually approaching the Copilot in form of, let's say that, less of the information on the prompt, okay, and then pretty much that prompt itself may sound like an order, okay. Well, honestly, I'm not getting the needed response, okay. But once I'm actually changing the tone, okay, which I'm very much dealing now with the sentiment within that particular prompt, which is now actually providing more of the information, okay, more of the details, more of the idea of what I'm actually looking for from that response, okay, and then all that in a polite manner, then definitely indeed in those circumstances, in those cases, I'm getting the best of a Copilot. So that would be yet again another example, and then at the same time, another suggestion shared with you that you should be very much putting a lot of the efforts into crafting the prompts in a way, in a format that indeed it will just ease the whole process of getting to understand that prompt and getting to understand the actual request of yours by the AI model in front of you, and then as the result to receive what you've been looking for. Okay, so now let's see what is going to be the reaction of the Copilot in this case. But here I'm providing some of the details. I said that the more of the details we provide in the prompt, the better actually for the Copilot to understand it, what we want. It should capture the following points. Do not give this destination a name. Focus on what makes this destination unique. We will brand and name this experience later. So these are actually some of the consideration that needs to be taken by the Copilot in order to help me craft that particular paragraph with a bulleted list. Okay, so let's run it. Okay, scrolling down. Yes, yes, here it is. Okay, so yeah, we actually received that particular response. Okay, and then, yeah, indeed, when we look into this one, well, pretty much we see that from the perspective of the language that is being used over here. Obviously, we can assess that that is very high level language, okay? From the perspective of the writing, of course, the novels and all of that stuff. Okay, so yes, this is just another example that when we invest a lot into crafting the prompts with all of the ingredients that are very much needed in order to help Copilot understand what's all about, then definitely we're going to be, like I said, extracting the best out of it. Okay, but at the same time, we cannot just very much limit ourselves to the response. Okay, you see that every time that we get the response in second term now, in the previous one as well, okay, we would be always receiving suggestions as well. Okay, so in this case, can you rewrite it in a more whimsical style? Can you enhance the sensory details further? How can I highlight the exclusivity of this experience? So these are actually some of the suggested prompts in order to then further enhance actually this particular response, just in case that we need to do that. Okay, moving on forward, we're going to be now very much navigate to a very next exercise. Okay, so in this case, I'm going to be sharing it with you. Okay, just now. But could you just give me actually a thumbs up or any other emoji, okay, that goes aligned with the confirmation that you guys are in the Edge, and of course that you're using your own Microsoft account and pretty much actually doing the same, the work with me on these exercises. Okay. Yes, thank you in advance for that. Moving on forward, okay, in this exercise, we're going to be very much looking into what? Into the capabilities of the Copilot, okay, in order to be able to actually respond with the image, okay? So yes, the exercise itself is called create the hero image. So we will see that how that indeed it's not just the text that we get it as a response, like but of course the responses may come in a various formats as well. The response may come in the format of the image, as is going to be the case on this exercise. The response may come in the form of a code. If you're a developer, okay, and then you're asking the Copilot in order to write a piece of a code for you in a certain programming language, then the Copilot will do that as well. Okay, additionally, if you want actually then to create a particular audio file, okay, or the video file, okay, so these are actually some of the enhancements that the Copilot can also perform it or provide it to us, okay. But what's that actually that helps us to establish, okay, initially the NLP, the natural language processing, okay, is that like in all the world languages, okay, like right now in English, of course, we can then even use the voice recognition, okay, so in this case, talk to the Copilot, okay, or just answer the text in a native language, okay, and then yet again, the Copilot is going to be very much capable to understand it. So the NLP is acting as a middleware in order to facilitate the communication or the interaction with, I'll say communication with the Copilot. But what is the large language model? Okay, well, initially the large language model just tells that the Copilot has been trained because it's an AI model, means that this is not an instruction-based system, okay? But of course, it's a prediction-based system because we've actually provided the knowledge base, and then obviously we've trained it through the machine learning, which is all about the algorithms. So we've trained this model, and now this model is capable to actually predict, actually to embed that sort of a thinking within itself whenever it comes and provide those particular responses. Okay, to not take more. Okay, let's just now actually provide this particular prompt from this exercise. Okay, in order to see what is going to be the reaction of the Copilot. Okay, so we're asking, can you create an image that visualizes the exterior of this destination from a distance? Okay, so we're actually very much now in communication. We're extending our communication with the Copilot, okay? But now we're just moving on forward to see what the Copilot can do in this regard, okay? So let's see, okay? This destination, pretty much the destination, which is all about those particular forests and trees and that, okay? Let's see. Okay, so it says here's your first glimpse into the forest best kept secret. Your treetop sanctuary is coming to life. Okay, let's see what is going to be the artistic perspective of the Copilot in regard to portraying one particular paragraph. Yeah, that tells that within this system, well, there is actually creativity as well. While the work is in progress, obviously we see that there is some status above that particular tile, okay, of the image, which is very much telling us that it's just actually working on those particular. Okay, yeah. So it's very much a house on a tree. Okay. So based on this particular writing over here. Okay. So indeed, when you look into this particular response made earlier by the Copilot, okay, Copilot was very much trying to do its best in order not to provide that one, not through the writing, but of course through the visual representation, as it very much done it here. Okay, but now when we look into the Copilot user interface, okay, we go beyond the image itself, okay? So we have the option of downloading this particular image, okay? But yes, we have the option of sharing as well, okay? So we can share this particular message and of course the prompt as well, okay? Moving on forward, class. Okay, let's get into the very next exercise, which is making a grand entrance. Okay, so yes, here we are. Okay, so you're receiving now the exercise 3 with its title and of course the link as well. Okay, let's proceed further. Okay, so what we have here, okay, so we've actually started now a project. This is a project, okay, in order to get into the interaction with the Copilot in a series of the prompts, so that by the very end we've actually constituted a project. Okay, so in this case, like the title of the exercise indicates, we're going to be indeed making a grand entrance. Okay, so to that particular destination, okay, so somewhere in the forest, and then with that particular house in a tree, okay, we're going to be further now very much enhancing and advancing this particular idea. Okay, so for that very reason, we have now the very prompt. Okay, here's actually the very next prompt. For this destination, I want to think about the entrance. It should embrace the theme of this destination. It should be memorable as it's the first interaction a visitor will have. Can you suggest 3 ideas for the entrance to this destination that fulfill the criteria? This part of the project work is called the entrance. Okay, so let's make it this one into the double quote. Okay, and then execute it. Okay, yes. We're actually receiving the responses. Yeah, you see, very much we have actually the hollow archway. Okay, guests arrive at an unmarked forest trail where a massive ancient tree appears, hollowed into natural arc. The rope drum gondola, okay, a wooden platform wrapped in an ivy and lanterns, awaits at the edge of the forest ridge. And of course, the living pathway, a trace of stepping stones winds through the forest floor, but these aren't ordinary stones. Okay, actually, just some of the suggestions received, okay, in a fabulous way by the Copilot in regard to what we've been very much asking for. And then, yes, within the bigger picture of our project, we've actually very much identified this as the entrance. Okay, so moving on forward, we're still actually going into that particular interaction and communication with the Copilot. Okay, so we're saying over here that, okay, I like the idea about the hidden door you suggested. Can you elaborate on it? Okay, so this is called expanding on the idea. So we've been asking, okay, but asking in a way that we've, like our asking earlier, why I'm putting this emphasis onto the prompt, because it matters a lot, okay? Indeed, the more of the information or the ingredients that we've very much named and listed earlier in this particular webinar in regard to crafting the prompts, the more of what we actually looking for to receive it from the response we're going to be definitely getting. Okay, so if we very much look into this particular one, okay, why I'm going into the details of the prompt, because in this example we've actually asked, can you suggest 3 ideas for the entrance to this destination that fulfill the criteria? Okay, and the criteria is that we want to have an entrance and it should embrace the theme of this destination. It should be memorable, okay, as the first interaction a visitor will have. So moving on forward, we want now, okay, to ask about the hidden door that Copilot has suggested in order to elaborate it further. Okay, yes. Okay, yeah, it says absolutely. Okay, the hidden door is more than an entrance. It's a spellbinding moment of revelation. Here's a deeper dive into how this could unfold. And then obviously over here we see that pretty much that is actually just follows with the explanation, okay, into the details. Okay, moving on forward. Okay, here's another prompt, okay, in which prompt we're very much going to be looking further into the explanations, okay? You'll see now in a moment, okay, when we're going to be asking the Copilot in a way that, can you rewrite that description in a tone that you find it in a travel publication? Please keep it to a single paragraph. You see, we're just asking for more of the explanation into the description, but at the same time, we're actually in somehow setting the stage. Okay, we want that to be in one paragraph. Okay, let's see what we're going to be getting. Okay, yes, yes, indeed, yeah. Hidden deep within an untouched forest, the entrance to this elevated woodland retreat feels more like a passage into a forgotten fairy tale. Yes, indeed. Okay, yeah, moving on forward, class. Yes, in this communication, we're going to be now yet again asking the Copilot for another set of the image. And this time is going to be, okay, a visualization of the entrance that it was just written. Okay, so can you create an image that visualizes the description of the entrance you just wrote? Okay, so this is what we received from the Copilot. Okay, yeah, indeed, from the novel perspective, indeed, that's very well written. Okay, so let's see how it's going to be very much visualizing all that through a image. Okay, definitely we need to give a bit of a time in this regard. Okay, it just gives us the indication that the image is in the works. So we need to get ready to step into the forest's best kept secret. And then, yes, statuses are preparing the canvas, starting on the masterpiece, and it continues actually until it's going to be ready to be published. Okay, on the finishing touches, Copilot is working on the second set of the image, which is all about the entrance. Okay, yes. Now let's try to, okay, from our own perspective, of course. Let's try to relate it now, the images, okay? Yes, this is the very bottom of a tree, okay, above the roots, definitely. So we see over here a door, okay? And then if we actually climb in here, so scrolling up, okay, we've had over here a house on a tree. Okay, so well, logically, it just gives the idea that obviously here we have actually some space. Okay, in order to build that particular door. Okay, and then use very much the body of the tree in order to then, yes, build those particular stairs, which internally, okay, in order to then reach out to this particular house here. Okay, so yes, logically that relates. Okay, it's not that we're going to be assessing here the intelligence of the Copilot, but we just want to actually very much bring actually those pieces and bits into the place in order to actually constitute very much a claim that yes, so far indeed everything is just following very much the idea that we've been right at the beginning establishing. Okay, moving on forward, class. Yes, going into this particular work with the Copilot. Okay. Yes, now that we had that particular image, okay, moving on to the very next exercise. Okay, I want from you, okay, we're almost like, let's say, one third of the webinar passed, okay, from the perspective of the activity and the timing. I want to actually have some responses in the chat box, okay? What is your impression so far, okay? Enjoying, not enjoying, okay? And then very much, how is your reaction to the work of the Copilot that you have received so far in regard to the idea, and then obviously developing further that particular idea. Going to be moving on forward, okay, with the very next exercise, okay, in this interaction with Copilot, through which we're going to be further than brainstorming the destination features. Okay, and for us, the destination is a forest, okay, and the house in the tree. Yes, here's the exercise number 4. Okay, so brainstorm destination features, okay? Yes. Well, we are aware that the destination locations have some various interiors, okay? And we also like the exteriors as well. In that regard, we want the Copilot to be able to brainstorm and visualize some creative ideas for these particular type of the spaces. For that reason, we have this prompt. Okay, the next to come is yes. Let's do this one. We're not going to work on the part of the project called the features. Okay, so yet again, we set the stage 2 of our project. Okay, through this particular prompt. Okay, and then in this time, we will ask the Copilot, given what you know about this destination, can you suggest 5 unique interior or exterior features or spaces that people might visit, spend time in, or enjoy? Please list them with a name followed by the description. Okay, let's see what the Copilot can do in this regard. Yes. Well, yet again, we've actually, in the very impressive way, received an awesome response, I'll say, from the Copilot in regard to what we've been very much looking forward to receive it. Okay, So yes, Copilot has very much actually taken on the brainstorming the destination features in our second stage of a project called the features. Okay, and then yes, we've actually received some pretty much the names of these particular features along with the description. The first in the list is the canopy chamber. Okay, suspended at the highest point of the structure, this open air lung hovers beneath a veil of gently swaying foliage. Okay, and then we have the whispering alcove that says tucked behind a curved wooden panel. This intimate space plays with the sound in unexpected ways. Then we have the scent library, a tucked away room lined with wooden drawers, each containing a unique forest-inspired scent. And of course, the root cellar, the sand spiraled staircase wrapped in ivy to discover subterranean wine and tasting grotto. Okay, then we have the Twilight Walk, a curated dusk time path through the surrounding woods, illuminated by floating lanterns and guided by subtle sound cues hidden in nature. Yes, very artistic indeed, and very impressive at the same time. Definitely. Moving on forward, okay, we want to expand further the ideas, okay, and then for that very reason, definitely acknowledging that so far is very impressive what we are getting from the Copilot, but then also like expanding it further. Okay, so let's see how we're going to be very much now looking forward to communicate with the Copilot. Okay, so pay attention to this very next prompt. Okay, this prompt says like this. I want to work on visualizing a few of these ideas. Okay, the ones that have been mentioned so far. Let's work on the first idea called the nest. Okay, can you rewrite the description in a travel publication tone and keep it about the same length? Can you also suggest three alternative names for the nest? Okay, let's see what Copilot is capable of doing in this regard. Yes, here it is. Okay. Cradled high in the arms of towering trees, this open air retreat offers a rare blend of serenity and spectacle. Okay, and of course continues like that, but here are the three alternative names to evoke its magic. The canopy lookout, okay, emphasizing height, tranquility, and elevated views. The lantern perch highlighting the glowing ambience and sense of nesting, and the sky hollow, which is very much evoking a secret open space held gently in the arms of the trees. Yes, again, impressive, but further, we're going to be very much so. You see, very much we are, I'll say, highly demanding in this communication. Okay, but yet again, we must admit that Copilot is not getting bothered from our request. Okay, I like the second idea you proposed, the lantern perch, highlighting the glowing ambience and sense of nesting. Can you create an image to visualize what you call the roost? Okay, let's see what is going to be giving us in this regard. The treetop sanctuary is taking shape. An image of the roost is on its way. Let's bring this perch of lantern glow and forest serenity to life. Okay, preparing the canvas. Okay, preparing the canvas still. As well, this particular work is actually keep moving on forward. Okay, and the Copilot is very much uh, preparing that work hard. Well, you're aware that the Copilot, yes, the Copilot as an AI model has been very much developed by Microsoft in collaboration with OpenAI. Okay, and then if when you actually look into the OpenAI, you have actually the Chat GPT. Now, the GPT working is generative pre-trained transformers, which is actually this type of the AI models that we're using nowadays. Okay, the Copilot, the Chat GPT, and etc. from the other AI models providers. Okay, but since we are very much actually looking some of the responses in the form of an image, okay, we would be very much interested to find out from where that is coming. The OpenAI has developed multiple, I'll say, platforms which are very much acting as AI models, and one of them is the DALL-E. Okay, the DALL-E. Okay, what it does is actually it was designed to generate the responses in the form of images. So that even here, okay, when we see this particular part of the work by the Copilot, that is the interaction of a Copilot. Okay, the engine of a Copilot. Sorry, I couldn't generate the image. Please try. Okay, so that was very interesting. Okay. Yes, 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 yes. Let's see. Let's see. So that's mostly the interaction of a Copilot backend engine with the DAL in this case. Okay. So then, yes. Now, what would be very much the case when we actually encounter these sort of a situation? Okay, well, this just tells that this is very much a system. Okay, a system which requires the computing resources. It's not that they didn't have the computing resources, but might have been actually some sort of a flaws at the back end. Okay, which yes, when we look at it from the perspective of the timing, that would be expressed into the milliseconds. Okay, and then it would just then flag pretty much that particular response that sorry, couldn't do the work. But now on the second attempt, I'm confident that we're going to be very much receiving the work art of the Copilot in regard to the roost. Okay, it's coming together. Putting on the finishing touches. Yes, and here it is. Now let's try again to relate it. Okay, if I'm going up all the way up. Okay, so this is the very first image that we received. Okay, a house on a tree. Okay, or the tree house if we would be calling it in that order. And then this bottom part underneath the house is very much the door. The door gets into the body of a tree. Okay, when we actually definitely going to be having the stairs in there. Okay, and now just look internal, okay, the interior of the house, okay? So yes, it just gives us very much that view of the trees that are surrounding this tree house, okay? So indeed, it's beautiful. And if when we look into the lightning audience, respected audience, pardon, yeah, because I'm used to the trainings. Okay, well, we see that there's actually very much relation between this first image and, of course, that particular third image as well, which actually tells that in this communication, obviously, the Copilot is very actually very keeping the track, keeping the inventory of all of the activities that has performed so far, and with it just tells that it is actually within that frame of this communication. Okay, yes, so far so good. Moving on forward with the very next exercise. Okay, let me see whether I've shared with you or not so far. I think no. Okay, yes, here it is, the fifth one. Okay, and this is very much planning the menu. Okay, yes, like it is the case usually when we, yeah, humans, when we travel, definitely we want to be actually visiting new locations. Okay, the geography of that particular new location is going to be very much impressing us. Okay, the culture. Okay, yes, of course, but definitely we would be very much interested on the food as well. Okay, so then in that regard, the very next exercise is planning the menu. Okay, so the food and the refreshments are indeed considered to be a very important part of any particular destination. So in that regard, then even important for our destination as well in our project. Okay, so let's pick up the very next prompt. Okay, which in this case, okay, I partner because when I'm actually picking up from the exercise themselves, these particular prompts, of course, they are not formatted into the actual prompt space that the Copilot is actually leveraging. So therefore, I'm then very much adopting it to this particular prompt area. Okay, for the destination we have been working on together, I'd like to think about food options available. This part of the project is called the food. Okay, so very interesting. Okay, we've had the entrance, we've had the features, we've had the roofs, and of course now we have the food. Could you create me a menu formatted as a table? Pay attention, respected audience. We're very much strict into our request. Okay, formatted as a table which includes the name and the description. The description should clearly outline the ingredients and how it's served. The name and description should also embrace the theme of our destination. Please provide 5 ideas. So even including the themes, okay, of our destination. Let's see now. Okay, yes, we receive it, of course. It says, here's a curated menu designed to harmonize with the mystique and earthbound elegance of the treetop retreat. Each dish thoughtfully crafted to reflect forest texture, aromas, and flavors. Very impressive indeed. Okay, so we have that particular table, which of course consists of 2 columns, the dish name, and of course the description as well. Indeed, when we look into this, definitely it just tells that the naming convention used and also the description very much relates to the destination because that was our request. Okay, so yet again we see, okay, firsthand that indeed when it comes asking the Copilot, not just writing one particular paragraph, not just writing a combination of a paragraph with a list, okay, not just providing actually the list with the names and also like the descriptions, not just visualizing some sort of a responses that we received so far, but even when we actually want to organize it a bit different from what we've seen so far, the information or the responses, well, very much we see that the capabilities of a Copilot are in order. So we are actually receiving the response in the format of a table as well. Let's proceed further, okay? It's not that we're putting into the test the capabilities of the Copilot, but we just wanted to actually confirm what we've stated right at the beginning, okay? So we have an AI model which has been purely designed with a productivity in mind, okay? To empower the productivity at the individual level, but of course at the workplace level as well within the organization. So now we're moving on forward, okay, and asking another image. Can you create an image for the first menu item suggested? And it's going to be moss and amber flatbread. Okay, let's see what's going to be Copilot creating as an image for this particular dish name. Okay, yes, it's starting with preparing the canvas. So it's moss and amber flatbread. Okay. It did take some time this time. Yes, sorry. Okay, no problem, no problem, no problem. Here we are. Okay, yes, 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 acceptable. It seems like Copilot is investing a lot of the resources. Maybe we could have actually used like think deeper. Okay, better for more complex topics. It's not the complex topics, but of course, it's just about the resources that is investing into this particular image. Yes, okay, no problem. Let's just give it a break. Okay, so we want to further enhance the idea with the co-pilot of our project. Okay, and then this time we want to be actually very much getting some inspiration, which inspiration we're going to be then very much showcasing it into the drinks. Okay, let's see now. Okay, so we will ask the co-pilot, okay, to do what? To actually give me three ideas of signature refreshments for drinks. Please be inclusive and include something in your suggestions for everyone. Please also name them something clever that reflects the theme. Okay? Yes, the forest. Let's see. Okay. Whisper and Grow Elixir. Okay. Amber Root Tisane. Okay. The Canopy Mirrors. Okay. Super, 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 super. Let's see. Here then, we're going to be very much asking, let's see, which one is actually okay. Let's see this second one. Okay, something which is a less resources. Can you use to visualize the second? Okay, a second drink you suggested. All this one. Root tisane. Okay. Now let's see this time what is going to be doing. Okay, it's coming. And now we're actually now with the now that we've very much gotten into the images, we will see whether the Copilot can enhance its own image. So we're going to be seeing now the very outcome of this image, okay, and then ask the Copilot to enhance it further. Working on that. This may take a minute or two. Okay, no problem. Coming together, says. Okay, excellent, super. Yeah. So, okay, it seems like you've been actually consuming the resources, huh, Hamid? Yeah, awesome, awesome indeed. Let us take this image. Okay, thank you very much for sharing it. Okay, so copy the image. Okay, and then okay, so class, just to share with you, okay, yes, we would like to thank you very much, Hamid. Okay, although you have it in the chat box, but this is actually that image that on previous occasion, yes, I myself couldn't receive it in this iteration or communication with the Copilot, but yes, Hamid has actually received it, and here it is over here. Okay, yes, indeed, it is very much aligned with the theme. Yes, you see, like everything is actually over here from the wood. Okay, and then even the premise, the content, the ingredients inside are actually coming from that geography of the forest. Okay, awesome. Yes, we'd like to thank you very much indeed. Appreciate it. But now we received this one as well. Okay, so this is Amarutisane. Okay, let's actually over here save it. Okay, so save. Yeah, save it within the downloads. Okay. This would be image number 4. Image 4, but we will call it with a name. Amber root Tisane. Okay. And then save it. Excellent. Now, moving further, okay, we would be very much interested. Yes, thank you indeed. Appreciate it. We'd be interested to see whether Copilot has the capability to interact with an image. In this case, image created by the Copilot or generated by the Copilot. Let's better say it like that. Okay. Let's see. Here we have actually one particular prompt. Okay, so let's upload here. Upload here. Okay, from downloads. Okay, this is that image. Okay, and then let's add the message in here. Okay, so could you take the ours is not the acorn, but of course is amber. Root tisane. Image just created and add some of the smoke shown in this image. Okay, upload your image using the upload image icon. No, let's just very much. Okay, so let's see. Okay, Okay, here comes your glowing amber nestled in moss, now with a soft curl of a forest smoke to deepen the mystique. Okay, let's see. Okay, it's coming. And now we are very much working more into our project. Okay, so the very next exercise, okay, it's going to be exercise number 6. Okay, which in this case is going to be, yes, extending the idea further into the ambience and the music as well. Let's see what are the capabilities of the Copilot in that regard. Okay, yet again, it seems like it's just taking some time. And also we should be aware of the fact that this is actually coming from the cloud. Okay, so the data centers, and then dependable upon, like for instance, like from the region that I'm very much located, it matters a lot which data center I'm actually utilizing, or actually in this instance of the communication with the Copilot, which data center is actually being utilized and what's the load of that data center for the time being. Okay, because like Hamid was very much in a position to actually receive the image for that previous image, okay, of some dish name, okay, that was suggested by the Copilot. But then obviously in here, I was very much now in, let's say, 2 or 3 occasions receiving the sorry status, okay, or response in regard to the request about the image. Okay, maybe this in itself might sound as the feedback, good feedback to the Microsoft in order to further very much fine tune the image responses or the responses in the format of the image. Okay, very much to have some sort of filtering to not get into the very details. Okay, which definitely then that is being expressed as a time consumption, but also as the resource consumption, the computing resources consumption as well. That's actually just a take on it or just a thought. But yeah, since this is a webinar and is of course going to be recorded and we are providing it in a collaboration with the Microsoft, I think that when watching this particular webinar, people from Microsoft would get very good feedback in this regard. Okay, with understanding, like I said, it may seem like it's taking a bit of more time than needed, or maybe like Hamid and the rest of you, respected audience, might definitely. I'm looking forward that you're working as well. Okay, so I will proceed now further into the very next exercise, which is actually very much extending now this project and developing it more in terms of ideating the ambience and the music as well. So then in that regard, going to be over here now, very much getting into this perspective. Okay, so we want, we need to think about music. This part of the project is called the music. So we're asking Copilot to create a table of 10 songs with artist and song name that would fit the theme of this destination. Okay, but let's just interrupt in here. Okay, and see whether this is actually going to be very much now. Yeah, we've actually needed to stop that, okay, to move on forward. Okay, so yes, here's again, receive it in a table. Okay, so pay attention. We've been asking for 10 songs. Okay, yes, and the songs are very much coming. Okay, so yeah, the artist column, and of course the song title as well. Okay, so indeed, very much the Copilot has shown over here some very high level of the consciousness in order to indeed prepare it the list with the songs, okay, and artists that are very much into the theme, and that is the ambience, which is like we've said within the deep forest. Okay, moving on forward. Okay, we have the very next exercise in here, and with it, that very much is going to be concluding this particular activity of this webinar and our project as well. Okay, so we are now looking forward to create a branding material. Okay, why? Because we want to shape up now the project. Okay, here's the link for that. Okay. Daily limit reached. Very interesting. Create more images after your limit reset tomorrow. Okay, this is interesting. Okay, Hamid, maybe it's good to get into the discussion. Okay, are you so you've been actually using the Copilot similar like on the Microsoft Edge on the public domain, okay, and also like very much using the Microsoft account. Is that the case? Because here, as myself, if I'm not using the Copilot with a license. This is the actually the Copilot on the free. Yes, but I don't have the license. Yes, but same with me here. I'm not having, okay, the account that I was signing out, okay, even that account doesn't have a license, okay, because we're using the Copilot with the licenses within the workplace. But the ones that I'm having with Microsoft account, pretty much that is not running. Yes, go ahead, Amit. Yes, go ahead. Okay.
No, no, sorry. It was just by mistake. Sorry.
Okay. Don't feel sorry at all. Just enjoy the webinar and of course the environment. No, just wanted to share with you and the rest of the audience in this webinar that even my account in here is not using the license, okay? So might be that I've not received it, okay, that particular information, but definitely should be the case that maybe okay, tell me now this one. If you've been very much receiving all of the images, or all of the requests that we've been asking the Copilot to do the images, if in your case that was very much showcased, then that tells that in 2 or 3 instances I did not receive the images, so then you're ahead of me by receiving very much the images, and with that you've actually attained that limit, daily limit. I'm just guessing, okay? Okay, so yes, moving on forward, let's see now how we're going to be getting into the branding. Okay, so yes. Okay, so we want to actually now very much finalize the project. Okay, finalize actually this communication or this collaboration we're calling with the Copilot in terms of this particular project of the house on a tree somewhere deep on the forest, and then very much taking into consideration the entrance, okay, that particular door in the body of that tree, the stairs internally built, okay, and then very much like the food, okay, the interior of that particular house on that tree. And then yes, we are very much interested in, we were actually very much interested in terms of the music, and obviously here we want to then brand all this, okay. So then here it is, okay, we have actually one particular uh, that, okay, which actually goes in this particular order. It says, okay, now given everything we have worked on around this new destination we created, it's time to come up with some branding for it. Can you suggest a few options for a catchy name for this destination along with a short one-sentence tagline? Let's see the creativity of the Copilot in this regard. Oh, Verdance. Okay, the Wowan Hollow Linear. Okay. Then we have Brambilla Light. Okay. Nest Stream. Okay. And then obviously each name is actually being accompanied by the certain description in there. Okay. Awesome indeed. Yes, 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 yes. Moving in this same direction. Okay. So we want now to ask the Copilot to help us in our writing. Okay. And what would be that? We want to indeed be able to create a 3 sentence description in the tone of a travel publication that really captured the essence of this destination for potential visitors. Let's see what would be the response of the Copilot in this regard. Okay, yes, very short, very straightforward. Okay, and then yes, straight to the point. High above the forest floor, hidden with an ancient canopy lies a sanctuary where nature, mystery, and sensory wonder converge. This invitation-only retreat merges organic design with ethereal experiences. Think treetop dining by lantern light, scent libraries, whispering walls, and twilight walks lit by floating fire orbs. It's a place that doesn't just welcome you, it reawakens you. Okay, very impressive indeed. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay, because we're at the very end, I would be very much interested, okay, to try out once more, okay, this particular part. Okay, I know that that is just still working on that part, okay, but let me just see whether, okay, Copilot can come up. Okay, so let's share this. Okay, it says prepare my canvas. While it is prepared in the canvas, I'd be very much interested to actually go along and then share some links with you. Okay, so starting on the masterpiece, let's see. Yes, that still is very much working there. Okay, so in here. Okay, it may take a minute or two. It seems like it's coming. Okay, that's good. That's good. It's coming together. Let's see. Putting on finishing touches. Yes, 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 yes. It is finalizing now. Yes, 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 yes. Okay, let's do a comparison. Okay, so here comes your new take on amber root tisane and infused with a whispering trail of forest smoke to elevate the mystery. Okay, if we look on this one here, okay, well, very much, can we actually spotlight the differences? Yes, the difference is actually that we've been asking for more of a smoke, okay? And then, yes, we do have it, that one over here, which is very artistic indeed. Okay, well, it was preserved. It was preserved very much actually the same shape. Okay, we have the smoke, but we have a bit of a darkness as well. Why? Because in order to be emphasized that particular smoke. Impressive, indeed, impressive. Okay, like I said, class, well, with this particular, okay, yeah, this was actually a little bit before. So let's just say that that was actually the final stage of this particular webinar. Okay. Well, yes, with this particular final final image, okay, we've actually very much winding down this our webinar. Okay, but I did promise that I'm going to be sharing with you a few links. Okay, so this is the feedback form. Okay, we would ask you kindly, okay, to take a bit of a short time, okay, and tell us how we have been performed. Okay, so whether you've noticed something that needs to be improved further, okay, and then yes, feel free to provide your most honest feedback, okay, on that form. And then, yes, my colleagues and myself are going to very much taking the needed time in order to improve ourselves. But bear in mind that my colleagues and myself, we just did the best that we could in our capacity in order to showcase you the capabilities, okay, of the Copilot beyond to what you've been very much, let's say, learning from our series of the webinars, or that you are very much using it on the day-to-day basis. Okay, and I hope that indeed this in a moderate way, okay, and modest as well, just showcase actually in one area of the capabilities of the Copilot that maybe you haven't thought that it can very much help you to work out in a given project. So remember that we've started actually with an idea of establishing a project. We've set stages of that particular project, and we've managed to get the responses, the adequate responses of the Copilot for each and a particular stage of the project. And then obviously by the very end, we have actually finalized. Is that pretty much what that represents all of the work of the project? No, definitely. We just are aware that there's a lot of other work to be done, but at least we have very much the structure of the project. Okay, so we have all of the needed elements, okay, of our project, which is very much the stages, and we know what exactly each and a particular stage encompasses within that particular project. Okay, so yes, this is a work in a progress as far as the project that we've started with the Copilot, but it just tells that how much of support we've gotten from the Copilot in order to provide us actually the very basis and beyond the basis. But of course, I'm just saying that just the those necessities in regard to the establishing each in a particular stage, and then of course shaping up and profiling it all together. Okay, yes, that very much would be actually the explanation that sum up all this particular content and activities on this particular webinar. And like I said, yes, take your time in order to give us very much the evaluation, okay, in regard to our performance and of course the content of this webinar. Okay, and also a gift that comes from our collaboration of technology in Microsoft is the achievement code. Okay, so you have the link in this upcoming slide. Okay, in fact, slide and also like the link as well in the chat box. Okay, so here is, let me just come in here. Okay, so yes, even in the format of the QR code, okay, you have the achievement code, and of course you have the training feedback as well. Okay, so feel free to either utilize the one presented through the chat box in the form of a link, which one is actually convenient to you. Ensure that you're actually clicking on that link, or just using your mobile device, okay, and then a scanner on it in order to scan the QR code and then proceed further, receiving the achievement code as well. Okay, achievement is going to be very much helping you to showcase your accomplishment, especially from this particular webinar, into the social networking profiles of yours. Okay, so that would be another achievement, okay, from the professional perspective, which we would like to congratulate you very much on this achievement. But at the same time, we would like to thank you a lot, okay, for your willingness and your readiness in order to then all together with my colleague Imam and myself actually very much spend nearly 2 hours of your precious time in this webinar. Samit, we would like to thank you very much as well. Yeah, awesome indeed. Yes, you've been, yeah, so you've been very much being part of this webinar, not just like in a position of a listener, of course, in a position of the of a very important actually like just not attending, but of course engaged as well. Okay, your level of the engagement, it was just indeed incredible. So thank you so much on that regard. Okay, appreciate it for your feedback as well. Indeed, pleasure. And we wish you all the best. Okay, excellent health and much success on your professional endeavors.
Thank you, team. Bye.
Yes, all the best. Peace and blessings.
Okay.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye.
Yes, thank you very much, Khalid, as well. We appreciate
Thank you, everybody.
being with
Thank you.
us.
Thanks, Bikram. Thanks a lot for
Yes,
today.
yes, Iman. Thank you very much also for your great support. Yes, indeed. Appreciate it. Okay, it seems like it's time to call the end for this webinar. Once again, for everyone, thank you very much for attending the webinar. And yes, Iman, thank you very much for your great support as always. Okay, peace and blessings to everyone.